Hello friend, Jim here with JB's Big Adventure coming to you from Lake Chapala, Mexico. In this video, what I'm wanting to share with you is one of the probably 8-9 points of why so many expats have come to Mexico or are coming to Mexico. What is really the draw? Why are people willing to leave the country that they were born and raised in to go to another country? And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to share some of those facts with you. I've really put into a lot of study and such to kind of get other ideas outside of just of what I feel and also what other expats I've talked to have felt, to really give a good idea of and be able to share that with you, that information with you. So some of these things I'm going to be moving my eyes a little bit and reading something because I really want to make sure I give you a good feeling and overall aspect of what in fact's taking place. So let me share for you, first of all, the number one thing. Because of the proximity between the United States and Mexico, it's really easy for an expat to drive across the border to get into Mexico. That's how simple it is, driving across the border to get into Mexico. Now, those that are from Canada obviously go into the United States and then cross and come into Mexico. Now, I know that COVID's has really involved a lot of, has put a wrench in a lot of things when it comes to Canadians being able to travel, and also those of us from the States also. So here are some of the main points that I see as being reasons why expats are coming to Mexico and why Mexico is the number one country with the most expats. So starting out with number one, and that is the weather. Now, because Lake Chapala is actually a mile high, it's a lot lighter and cooler when it comes to temperatures. So the average here is between 68 and 72 degrees year-round. And that's a big deal because it's nice being able to wake up in the day and be able to look outside and it's beautiful. It's blue skies. It's clear weather. Very, very nice, very comfortable, and a great place to be and wake up with that. So being the fact that a lot of expats come to Mexico and to Lake Chapala, right now, it actually goes between 20,000 to 40,000 expats at Lake Chapala. Now, Barb and I got here just this May, at the end of May, and when it came to November, which is when most of the Canadians come down, you could tell a big difference in the number of people, wherever it may be, out and about, the traffic, the numbers of cars on the road. And so there's a big difference. So, and that's when they come down, and that's when actually the area expands when it comes to numbers wise. And then when it goes into the basically Aprils and the Mays, then in fact they go back because it isn't cold in Canada. It doesn't have the snow issues the same way. So a lot of us looking at as being Canadians being snowbirds. And I got to tell you, they're great people. We've got neighbors, we've got friends that are Canadians, and I really appreciate the friendships that we have with those that are here. There are expats that are here at Lake Chapala. Another item is the low cost of living. And I can really tell you that the cost of living here really is much lower. Now, I'm talking about overall in regards to, and that's including housing. So between medical care, food, utilities, most folks that come to live in Mexico save on an average between 50 and 65%. That's the difference of living here at Lake Chapala. Now, here's one of the bonuses. Because there's a savings, that means that there's more money to be able to be used for things like housekeepers. So ladies, if you don't like to do the house cleaning, you can afford now someone to do that for you. Cooks, having somebody come into your home and cook for you. Gardeners. And one of the other things, in fact, a good friend of mine who moved down here that just reminded me of this is travel. Now, he's got a total of 6 in his family. And right now, they're actually leaving Lake Chapala, and they're going to be on the road. They are driving for the next 12 days, taking their kids to different parts of Mexico. So when in fact you're able to save money, you're able actually to use that money for other things that could be of importance to you. Now, another thing is the access to healthcare. There's great healthcare here. And because it's less expensive, that's one of the reasons also why folks come and live here. I've got another friend of mine who was actually battling cancer. Now, it wasn't until he came to Mexico and had some other types of help that he beat it. It wasn't because of what took place in the States. It's the care he received here in Mexico. And I've shared this several times, and that is when it comes to pharmaceuticals, when it comes to medication. They're very much less expensive here in Mexico. Now, again, if you've not watched any of my videos, I will share with you that one of the medications I take is a controlled substance. In the States, it's $1,200 a month. You heard that right, $1,200 a month to take this medication. But I can get it here in Mexico for only $96 for the same 30-day supply. That's a big savings. And another interesting thing is, now I have to use a prescription to get that. But for the majority of medications that not only I take or my wife takes or others take, there's no prescription required. You take a bottle, you take a box inside of the pharmacy, and what they do is they fill it for you. And what I'm doing is I've actually got a video I'll be doing on the pharmacies here locally, and it's something I'm actually preparing right now, out shooting in the whole bit, to have that video that will be here also. Now, one of the other things that's really a big change, and that is the laid-back philosophy, or I should say the laid-back lifestyle of being in Mexico. Here's what it teaches you, is to have patience. Now, what's interesting is when we're out on the road and we're driving and I hear cars honking. Now, I can't tell you that I've looked at every single one of them, but it seems like when I turn around or I'm looking to see who's honking at who, it ends up being expats. It ends up being those that are accustomed to where in other states it might be that we drive faster, but they don't necessarily do that here. Or they drive a lot differently here. In other words, they'll pass you on the left or on the right-hand side of your vehicle on a 2-lane road. So it's quite the experience. But the overall aspect of being here is a laid-back lifestyle, really laid back. Another item is the affordability of housing, whether it's an apartment or whether it's a house. Now, when we came down our first time in April this year, we found places that were as less expensive as $300 a month. $300. That's US dollars a month. Now, what we're paying $650. And I'm going to be talking about this on another video, but we pay $650. It includes everything, all utilities, internet, everything, $650. But you can find places here for $300 that might include electricity and gas, or they might be fully furnished. There's that benefit here. Now, there's a lot more of an inventory, a lot more available when the expats, or when the majority are not here because they're gone. Or what happens is the Canadians rent their places out to others that come down here. So that's another one of the items, is about the affordability of being able to live here in Mexico and in Lake Chapala, and the less expensive side of being able to live. Obviously, the biggest part is our housing. And when you can find a place that the housing's a less expensive, it makes life a lot easier. Another thing, the Mexicans are really friendly, and you can make friends everywhere. I mean, we have a gardener, and we've had a house cleaner, and they're really easy to make friends with. And unlike what some might think, just because there's a language barrier doesn't mean that they're not friendly. They're very, very friendly. When you need help with something, they help. And that's also a really nice thing, is having an environment of where folks that you talk to are very, very human and humble. of speaking with someone else and trying to learn the languages or trying to communicate in the languages with each other, but very, very friendly. That's really a big thing. Another thing is it's really inexpensive to go from Mexico to the United States or to Canada. I'm talking about from a fiscal standpoint, from a financial standpoint of either driving your car or taking a bus or flying, whatever way that might be. For the most part, it's inexpensive. Now, it depends what you're comparing it to, so it's got to be apples with apples. But what I'm saying is to get back and forth between the two countries, it's a lot less expensive than it would be like going to Europe or going to England or to France or wherever it may be. So it's a lot less expensive to do the traveling from here. There is a rich culture here, and it's not only in the tradition and the architecture and the blends it has with the Mayans and also with the Aztecs, but you see a wide range of different types of architecture here, of art of all different types, whether it's clay, whether it's the art on the side of a building that's been painted. There's all kinds of things here, and architecture is unbelievable. I mean, there's places here that I've been inside of, like a church for one. I mean, it's got to be one of the prettiest churches I've ever seen, and it's in Chapala, and it's beautiful. So that's another thing here, that the culture, it's rich in culture and the people and how they do different things. And you can walk up the street, downtown Chapala or Ajijic, and see how some folks actually eat. What are the items that they bring to sell? Because that also gives kind of an idea of how they eat themselves. So, and that's the expensive things. And really that it's the least expense of things when it comes to living here, because of the architecture and the agriculture and the growing of all kinds of fruits and vegetables that are fresh and easy access. So when it comes to Mexico, it's a great place with all kinds of different traditions. And the food's in the same way. You know, in the States, the food that you might have in, for example, California is really different than the food that there is in New Mexico, which is different than what it is in Texas. So in California, you'd have Mexican food. Well, in New Mexico, it's New Mexican food. Totally different. But once you get to Texas, it's Tex-Mex. Well, how about when you go to, let's say, for example, Louisiana? The type of foods that you get there are different from other states. Or even when you go back east to New England, and being able to eat fresh fish and such right off the boat, and lobster. My wife reminds me about that, of how easy it is and how great it's to eat lobster right off of the boat. So the same thing happens in Mexico. You might go to different portions of Mexico and the food's totally different. It's because they also have their own way of doing things and cooking and preparing meals and such. And I think one of the biggest things I would share with you is a lot of folks think, well, I can't go to Mexico until I've learned Spanish. Well, I'll tell you, it's a benefit to know Spanish in advance. Remember, we're guests here, and we've got to make sure that we're learning their language, not expect them to learn ours. So although you might have the ability of using Google Translate, which we use, I'm starting to learn a little bit more of Spanish. And the nice thing is, if you're open-minded to it, you can basically learn the language on the go, as you're on the move, as you're interacting daily. You can be taking in the language and being able to learn the language and do each day, do a little bit better in regards to communicating. Well, I hope those 9 or 10 things have been really valuable for you to really know why. There's a lot of people that come to Mexico, and there's a lot of people out of probably, I believe the number was like 1.1 million expats live in Mexico. Well, a large portion of those live right here in Lake Chapala. And so if you're looking at moving to Mexico, and especially Lake Chapala, I hope that this little video with some of the aspects and the things has been really helpful for you. I really do hope that it's been helpful for you. Well, with that, Thank you so much for being a part of this video. If you haven't already, I'd like to encourage you to go ahead and subscribe to the channel. It's a great community, and we've got great content coming out. And I know you don't want to miss that. So make sure too that you hit the bell. That way you're immediately notified. Give us a thumbs up. If the information has been valuable and helpful for you, giving us a thumbs up, what that does on YouTube is helps other people know when they're looking for a certain video, they're then guided to our video, to our channel, because there's things that we're commenting on and making use towards and explaining on these videos. Also, if you'd like to comment, we'd love to hear from you. I really enjoy it every day, probably twice a day, communicating with those that communicate with us on the comments. And what I would really say to you is we really appreciate you. Our channel wouldn't be where it is if it wasn't for you. So thank you so much for being here and being a part of this. And with that, have an awesome day. And we'll see you on the next video.